Vitality have won the Blast Austin Major 2025, and now that the era is in, the Major is won, the records are set, the best of threes continue. It's time to be racist again. We can all be enthusiasts of the game and be very happy that Vitality have shown us an era of dominance in a world where MR12 was under question and the integrity of the game is under question because of MR12. Vitality proved that you can be the strongest team since Astralis with a format that is far more volatile. Congratulations to them. No, seriously. This is incredible. The UK's first major, right? As Americans, we can all appreciate what that means to be from an underdog region and be able to pull out a win like this. We have ZWEIH getting his second chip. Oh la la. FlameZ as well getting his first. Rops getting into every single major final in CS2 and finally winning one. This time not with FaZe, not in the grand finals. And Apex, 3 majors across 2 games and now as an in-game leader twice. That is quite an astounding achievement. Very cool. Shout out to the French. Shout out to the British. I know we love them. But can we just say, the MONGOLZ, meeting them in the grand finals, cracking top 4 here. A team that was top 5 this entire season. Now top 4, now major finals. Best result for an Asian team in history. The watch parties. You saw those watch parties? The Ferris wheel. The ice hockey rink at 5 a.m. filled with Mongolians. Name one international roster in history that was able to put up watch parties like the MONGOLZ did in Mongolia. Truly, what a feat. This team has stuck to Mongolian players from day one. They have made so many moves. Senzu showed up here all the way throughout playoffs, and 910 had an amazing event up until the grand finals. Most people, unlike Donk or ZWEIH, take a couple of tries. Even s1mple choked the first 3 finals that he played in. Most people take a couple of grand finals to win their major, right? We have expectations that are very high for everybody who's coming in. We want them to win right away. We want them to break every record right away. It's usually not going to happen. The MONGOLZ making it to the grand finals and even taking a map off Vitality. One of 6 teams this year to have even taken a map off Vitality. They've already taken 3 now. This team made history, did it the right way, and are the youngest team on this list. An average age of 20.8 or something. We're talking about Mzinho, Senzu are like 18, 19. Blitz is like their oldest player at like 23. Like this is a young lineup with so much room to grow. They can get so much better. And 2018 was our shining moment, having Cloud9 be able to, you know, take a major back then. But they had the hardest competition to beat in that grand final. It was so unlikely. But now in retrospect, MONGOLZ, they had so much trouble in playoffs. They took down Aurora a couple times, but that was it, right? Shanghai quarterfinal, they completely choked. Senzu vanished when they played against MOUZ in that quarterfinal. The only thing that was good to say about them is they played good CS, but they didn't play good stage CS, and they've broken that curse. So now MONGOLZ are a real threat moving into the next season here. There's a lot to be discovered about how good this team can get, but we're here to talk about the offseason, and we're here to talk about the fact that s1mple is in prison. And I don't know how they're making the prisons these days, but he might not want to get out. You know what I mean? He says, sometimes it's hard to go out from jail. This is a reference to the fact that he's under contract with Na'Vi at the moment. I'm reading that in October, his contract expires. And so what that means is that for FaZe, when they signed s1mple or had him come in as a stand-in, they probably paid quite a bit to have him compete to play at the major. If they had won this major, I think there's a world where FaZe can't even buy him because he would cost so much from Na'Vi. There were multiple references to how much that Na'Vi are charging to be able to buy s1mple from the lineup. I think they would love to be able to sell him, but also I don't think they want to let this guy go for cheap because he's probably got the biggest contract we've ever seen. It's the franchise player for Na'Vi. He's seen it all. He's won the major with them, you know, the go to CSGO. And so what's going to happen now, guys, right? As I think there was a part of FaZe every single time they did well or s1mple got a clip. I think they were all wincing whenever news came out, oh, s1mple's doing great, or whenever they saw tweets, oh, we got to sign s1mple. I think it was FaZe Kaizen said, you know, we might have to sign him after this. But the reality is I don't think that FaZe have that much money. And I heard they even paid for Frozen's buyout themselves. Okay, the players did. So I think that FaZe are truly like a family when it comes to the team. But I think that they're all doing really well together. They're winning a lot. They probably got good contracts, everything like that. But I'm not really seeing the FaZe org, the greater org, be a huge part of this roster in a way that, you know, Kerrigan and Rain and the core of this lineup has really brought this team together and made its name in CS. So I think we're kind of at the point where, you know, Monacy leaves G2. And the reason for that is because his contract's expiring. So G2 will take almost any amount of money to sell him because obviously he doesn't want to stay when NiKo leaves. He goes to Falcons. That's a hard fish to catch. S1mple in a similar spot. So maybe there's a world where they try to buy him, but apparently right now it's still too expensive. Maybe he showed a little bit too much value. Na'Vi have also not settled on their roster move, so there's a potential for S1mple to come back to the lineup, I would imagine, though we're not in a place where they're reporting that Wonderful is going to get cut from the team instead. The report is that JL and Imma are on the chopping block at the moment. So what I assume is going to happen is if they don't want another offer for Na'Vi, they might sell him now, but there might be a world where this gets to October. S1mple's released from contract jail. FaZe pick him up then. They pick up someone in the interim, you know, somebody, a loose piece. Hey, maybe FaZe jail is not a meme. And then they have a stopgap between this and S1mple coming back onto the roster. I think we saw that they have potential, and they didn't have that much time to get better, and they cracked top 8 at the Austin Major. That was really, really impressive to be able to do. We remember they actually destroyed MONGOLZ mentally and with team play and everything in the series to make it to playoffs in the first place. So even though MONGOLZ had the last laugh, I think FaZe showed that they could do it. I think I expected S1mple to retire. I think after seeing this FaZe outing, yeah, he actually had a terrible series on stage. You know, there's going to be moments where it doesn't look great for someone who hasn't been active for a very long time, but it looks like he's going to have to stay warm in Valve Deathmatch for now until this contract expires or until somebody comes up with tons of cash. They might need a small loan to be able to afford S1mple right now. So for now, enjoy prison. Looks like a great time. Sun's out. Okay, it looks like we're going to have to be a fan of Virtus Pro now as PERFECTO completes the Virtus Pro roster. There was a rumor that PERFECTO was going to be joining Spirit, which I assume would have been a move for Magic's hardest job as a caster. Magic's. Okay. PERFECTO completing the Virtus Pro roster means that he won't be going to Spirit, which means we have to be a fan of Virtus Pro. Oh, I hate that. Virtus Pro, the team that got rid of Jame, have been trying to make it work with this lineup, actually played some good CS. We can all agree on that at the Austin Major, but also a team that just cut Flawless to make room for PERFECTO. And you're cutting Flawless to make room for PERFECTO. I'm not going to say all these players don't have potential, but we're talking about the 11th hour here for Electronic. We're talking about Flit and Flame, who are sitting on a major back in 2022. We're talking about Icy, who, let's just say there are better offers than Icy. And Flawless is the only one who was like the young dog who was hungry, who has like lots of game to show, I think. And the reason he got picked up in the first place is because on Gamer Legion, like you really saw, and you saw at Shanghai, you know, exactly what Flawless can offer. And that's like the PMA. He's got the positive mental attitude. He's extremely aggressive rifler, right? You put Flawless with Jame, and I think you get Yakinder. Flawless would be on Liquid already by this point in his career with how much Jame would buff his stats with his playstyle and his affect. He's sort of a really unique, aggressive rifler that would be cool to see work. PERFECTO's the other direction. We got someone who's anchoring. You're thinking more of CT sides here. PERFECTO's always good for a clutch or two in big games. And so you have to wonder, you know, like what is the upside now of this roster without Flawless? We're talking about Flawless, who was signed to a 4-year contract to Virtus Pro, announced this year, and they played out half a year. So he's got 3.5 years left on Virtus Pro, which means this kid could end up very much in contract jail for a long time, way longer of a sentence than S1mple's in, very early on in his career. They signed him to a 4-year deal because they need someone like this, right? They need a firecracker to come onto this team, to build around, to support, and his stats drop off a cliff. 0.87 CT sides on Virtus Pro, 0.58 KPR in this short amount of time that he's been on the team. But I want to underscore short, because obviously we've seen him play better. Yes, it's not working on this lineup, but is that the problem of him or the rest of the team, right? Is it a problem of not activating him properly? That's what I would wonder. And so why sack a talent you've taken such a big risk on? Even if everyone's very unhappy with him right now, he's so young. There's so many ways in which this could work, I feel. And so I'm happy to see PERFECTO join the team. I don't really see how he helps Virtus Pro win the big tournaments like we could maybe see Flawless do one day. So it's finally happened. Falcons have signed KYOUSUKE. KYOUSUKE, this guy, Donk 2.0, they say. I've watched him play. He's doing extremely good. He has the perfect primer in tier 2. He gets mad about tournaments not being hard enough when he wins them. It feels like there's no reason to think that this is any different than when they found Donk out of the academy or when they found MONGOLZ. We don't know how high the ceiling will get, but people are getting and taking risks on players with far less of a resume, less experience, everything like that, and he's standing up above the rest. So yeah, the Falcons signing KYOUSUKE makes a lot of sense. He's coming in place of Magisk, okay, and obviously he's not Magisk, he's more Donk. So when we see him play here, this is going to be another... Why I think this could work is because MONGOLZ plays under NiKo, and then we'll follow him to the grave, right? He's holding his pocket all the way to Falcons. KYOUSUKE surely is going to play. I'm sure that NiKo will have something to learn from KYOUSUKE, who's, you know, got a new style of play coming into tier 1. But also, there will be tons for NiKo to teach him. And so I think on that premise alone, I'm pretty excited to see what works here. But this is you know, shoving a square peg into a round hole. This is trying to buy the strongest team possible and then hope that it works down the line. I think all that's fine though, because they're so close to being able to win already. Magisk has already been a liability in the past. I think he's done pretty damn well recently at being a player worth looking at for other lineups that need a fill for the moment. But yeah, it seemed like he needed that spurt of motivation that was, you're getting benched soon to be able to play well. So what can you say if you're Magisk, right? This is like when ZWEIH came in to replace Knock on NIP and he went, well, yeah, but it's ZWEIH. You know, in this case, KYOUSUKE is too hot right now, so, you know, you've just got to accept it. But now, basically, you have a lineup that, well, Falcons could have very easily made this major final if they didn't choke, right? They completely collapsed. They had a terrible start in their stage. They lost to MIBR. I mean, there are a few things, unfortunately, that are more embarrassing for somebody who's projected to win or get to a major final than to lose to MIBR. They lost a 3v5 retake that, you know, is 1% hope, 99% faith, and they did it. Obviously, there's no better example of how they choked than that retake, a game that should have ended right there. And this was also, you know, ironically, this was a game that NiKo had 3 kills in for 15 rounds. But on this round specifically, the argument is, did TeSys fuck it up or did MONGOLZ fuck it up? Right, we're watching this half-wall situation where MONGOLZ calls that he wants to watch Coffins. Then TeSys realizes that he has to now cover MONGOLZ because MONGOLZ's on Hobbit and exposed. And then when TeSys takes the fight and loses, MONGOLZ gets a chance. And when MONGOLZ misses, it goes, well, okay, that's a shot that MONGOLZ is supposed to hit every single day of the week. Why did he miss? But it's sort of emblematic of the fact that MONGOLZ has just been missing a lot. MONGOLZ's got his own sort of issues right now. NiKo's choking in like every elimination game that he's playing, and he deserves his fair share of the blame, absolutely. In fact, this is the biggest stain on his record, I'd feel, because I think, you know, at Stockholm when he misses a deagle shot from heaven, s1mple's 50 feet away, it's a pixel, he's a deagle, you know, he just wants to guarantee this shot. Scary moment that could happen to the best players, and he missed by like obviously like that, like that. Like you need like a subatomic ruler to be able to figure out exactly how far away he was from him. But now that you compound that with this 3v5 situation and the whole, you know, 3 kills for so long in this elimination game, go back to Paris and he has a bad elimination game where they play on Vertigo, him and MONGOLZ disappear. This is not good energy for the roster that NiKo's getting more and more scared in big games like this for a player that's as good as he is. You know, there's players like Donk who now just instantly win their major in the rookie year, and there's never been a rifler to contend with NiKo in the modern era of CS since Donk, right? The last 5 years before Donk wins top 1, it's been all Oppers top 1. And then just NiKo, and the JL close behind him. So this is the team doesn't have a talent problem, right? Oh, they just need one more superstar. No, the team doesn't have a talent problem right now. They have a choking problem. They have actually a NiKo problem, unfortunately. So, I think mentally, it's just that needs to be fixed, right? Mentally, that's where all the issues are. Were they good enough to beat MIBR? I bet my pants they were good enough to beat MIBR. Okay, they just couldn't do it because they choked. If you want to analyze past that, if you're an analyst, you want to go into the game and be like, ooh, you should have peaked like this. MONGOLZ, yeah, you know, you hit that shot every time, whatever. You could go into those details if you want to, but in reality, it's just mental, right? That's an easy shot for MONGOLZ. Easy. Oh my God, this season is hot. Okay, we got a lot of moves coming. And so now we're talking about ZWEIH. Okay, ZWEIH, the player from Namiga, who was top 5 player in the first 2 stages of the major. ZWEIH on Namiga, a lot of people had Namiga 03. ZWEIH was so impressive in the stage. He was the youngest player at this major, right? 17, I believe. Your bold predictions, bold prediction, okay? Donk has made a personal bold prediction of ZWEIH coming out of last year, and Donk was Shiro's bold predictions. Your bold predictions, bold prediction. Okay, so Shiro gets Donk, Donk gets ZWEIH. What we need to see is ZWEIH make top 20 and find out who his bold prediction is to find out who the next upcoming talent is. It won't be Spirit looking at Perfecto, which is kind of an interesting idea. And they also lose KYOUSUKE. I mean, they lose him. They probably made tons of money off of this move. And they also wouldn't have had a role clash if they brought in KYOUSUKE. Maybe that doesn't make a lot of sense. So we'll see how it plays out with him coming into the team, but I don't think it'll be as direct of a conflict as KYOUSUKE. This is ZWEIH coming in potentially for Magisk coming in for Magisk or Zontics. It's Falcon-y. Okay, it's a little bit Falconish. It's a little tiny bit Falconish. It's Falcons light here. Doesn't totally make sense, but role cells have lost the lead, actually. So, and the role cells have lost the lead. I think it could still work. Crazy to think that that Spirit could need a firepower upgrade, but the reality is it is sometimes Donk and friends. Sometimes it's Donk and Shiro and friends. Sometimes it's Donk and Magics in a major grand final, but it is a team that is really inconsistent on the bottom side. Soft underbelly on that Spirit lineup, man. They really are fragile sometimes. Now, we have a lot more roster moves to do, a lot more drama to cover, but I'm not going to do that here. We got another video. I'll just make sure that we can pump this one out pretty quickly. I'll have another video up in the next few days to cover more of the roster mania. There's actually 5 more moves I could do today, and there'll probably be 5 more that come out tomorrow. So stay tuned. We'll keep the news coming. If you enjoy the roster moves, let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much. Appreciate you watching. I'm wearing the A-Zone of Blazes, and so should you. azone.io. Launders, code Launders for 10% off.